As you look at this picture, what do you see? What's the first thing that you see? As I share this with congregations around, you see a pastor, don't you? But tell me, what else do you see? What do you see there? You notice he's wearing a dress. I shared it with one congregation and in Australia, and one lady says, a nanny uniform. So as a minister with a nanny uniform or a dress on, what's he doing? Does he have little children around him, doesn't he? But look at the faces of those children. How old are they? They're very old. You see those two men there on the ground. I think one of them is the deacon. He's beating up on the elder because of after a very tense board meeting. You know how they get in churches sometimes, you know? And then the lady that is on the right, she's looking up and she's crying. I think she's a musician and no one didn't like her song. Oh, and so she complains to the pastor, "Pastor, they're not fair to me." And then the lady on the left, she's baffled by the whole thing. And that poor chap that's in his arms, he's just a lost little soul. These are his flock. These are his church members. He's caring for them very tenderly. And what has he been feeding them? Do you see that on the ground? They've been getting a lot of milk, haven't they? You see, they're so used to being fed by the minister, they haven't learned to eat yet. You know, if you have a child 18 years old and you're still feeding him, there's something wrong with the child and there's something wrong with you. Is it possible that we and our pastors have both become codependent? But what else do you see? Look in the background. What do you see? Do you see a harvest? How big is the harvest? It's endless. The harvest is truly great, but how many laborers are there? Look carefully. There's only 3 back there. And the spiritual physician is in the front, and he's taking care of adult Christians who are acting like babies. Haven't learned to stand up on their own 2 feet. What else do you see in the background? You see a harvest, you see the laborers, but what else do you see? Do you see the sun setting? We're in the sunset of Earth's history, friends. But what else do you see? You see the storm clouds coming, don't you? Storm clouds filled with rain, and you cannot harvest wet grain, friends. We're in the storm, we're in the sunset of Earth's history. The storm clouds are rising that's going to spoil the harvest. And God's ministers, God's lay people, are not in the field harvesting. We're consumed with ourselves and with each other. The Bible tells us the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he would send forth laborers into his harvest. That's a command from Jesus. We need to pray to the Lord that he would send forth people who have special qualifications to reach the lost, especially where the work is the hardest, especially where we have no churches. Our pastors and others. Send them where the harvest is great, and we ourselves need to follow behind as a mighty army and go to the Lord's work. Because in Jeremiah chapter 8 and verse 20, it tells us the harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. It's the cry of the lost. Friends, we need to labor to save the lost. We need to enter the harvest field, and we need to pray to the Lord that he would send those most qualified out into the areas that are the hardest to work. And we work around the church ourselves because the harvest is great.